The shadow came first, sliding fast across the yellow soil, stretching wider than the cub understood. The little tiger froze, one paw lifted, ears twitching as the wind suddenly grew loud. Above him, wings cut the air with a deep, heavy sound. The sky seemed to close in. Dust lifted from the ground, stinging his eyes, and the warmth of the morning vanished in a breathless second. Then the world pulled backward. Just moments earlier, the savanna had felt endless and kind. Pale sunlight rested softly on the open land, turning the soil gold and warming the cub's striped fur. He stumbled and bounced near a low rocky rise, batting at a rolling pebble and snapping playfully at insects drifting through the air. Every sound felt gentle. The whisper of wind, the far-off calls of birds, the slow rhythm of the land waking up. His mother was gone, her scent already thinning as she moved beyond the horizon to hunt. But the cub did not yet know fear. To him, the savanna was still a place of wonder. The wind began to change without warning. It grew sharper, lifting dust into thin, twisting lines that crawled along the ground. The cub paused, lifting his nose, confused by the sudden quiet. Distant animal sounds faded, as if the land itself had gone still. Somewhere high above, a giant eagle circled in wide, patient loops. Its wings barely moved, yet it stayed aloft with ease, watching the ground below with calm, unblinking eyes. Each pass drew tighter than the last, though nothing on the earth seemed to notice. The cub padded closer to the rocks, unaware that the eagle's shadow now crossed him again and again. He tilted his head, curious, not frightened, as the light around him shifted. The warmth of the sun flickered. The air felt heavier, pressing down on his small body. Instinct stirred deep inside him, an ancient warning he did not yet understand. His tail flicked once. His ears flattened. Slowly he looked up. Far above, the eagle's wings spread wider, catching the light. The bird's body tipped forward, no longer drifting, no longer waiting. The wind rushed louder, roaring through the open space. The cub let out a small, sharp cry, his legs stiff with confusion as the sky seemed to rush toward him. In the distance, unseen beyond the land's curve, the mother tiger lifted her head. Her body went tense. Something had changed. She turned, muscles tight, breath held, as if the savanna itself had whispered a warning only she could hear. Back near the rocks, the cub stood alone beneath the open sky. Dust swirled around his paws. The shadow above him grew dark and fast. For one long heartbeat, the savanna held its breath. The wind howled, and innocence met danger in the open light of morning. The scream tore through the open sky as the cub left the ground. Talons closed around his small body, sharp and unyielding, and the world flipped upside down. Yellow soil spun away beneath him, dust bursting into the air as his paws kicked at nothing. The wind roared past his ears, cold and loud, stealing his breath. The cub cried again, a thin, helpless sound, as the savanna rushed farther and farther away. Then the moment stretches, and the story pulls back. Only second before, the morning had felt gentle. The cub had been standing near the rocks, nose lifted, confused by the sudden shadows sliding over the ground. The air had gone still, as if the land itself was listening. Somewhere far away, unseen and unheard, his mother had turned her head, her body tightening with a feeling she could not name. Above them both, wings had folded, and gravity had taken over. Now the eagle climbed, beating its massive wings hard against the air. Each movement sent a shock through the cub's body. He twisted and squirmed, claws scraping uselessly against the eagle's scaled legs. Feathers brushed his face. The smell of dust and sky filled his nose. Below, the savanna blurred into a single sheet of gold. A roar broke free across the land. The mother tiger burst into a run from beyond the horizon, her call filled with fury and fear. It rolled across the open ground but arrived too late. Torn apart by distance and wind, she ran anyway, muscles burning, eyes locked in the dark shape rising into the sky. Her power meant nothing here. She could only watch. The eagle faltered. The cub's weight pulled harder than expected. His movements were wild and desperate, throwing the bird off balance. Wings beat faster, heavier now, struggling against the thick air. Dust still drifted below them, marking the place where innocence had been lifted from the earth. That was when the ranger saw it. He had been moving slowly across the savannah, scanning the open land as he always did, when the sky seemed to break. At first, he did not believe what his eyes were showing him. An eagle, huge, dark, fighting the wind, with something small trapped beneath it. Then he heard the cry. He felt it in his chest. There was no time to think. The ranger ran. His boots struck the hard yellow soil, sending dust into the air as he sprinted toward the chaos. The sun burned down on his back. The wind tore at his clothes. He knew every step mattered. A wrong move, a loud sound at the wrong moment, and the cub could fall from the sky, or the eagle could tighten its grip. Above him, the struggle continued. Wings strained. Feathers shook. The cub's cries grew weaker, his body tiring as fear drained his strength. The eagle climbed again, just barely, fighting both gravity and the growing danger below. The savannah seemed to hold its breath. Mother, cub, hunter, and human were bound together in one impossible moment. Stretched tight like a rope about to snap. Dust drifted in the sunlight. The wind slowed. And somewhere between earth and sky, the race against time truly began. Dust hung thick in the air, shimmering in the late morning sun. As the cub tumbled from the sky, time seemed to stretch with each heartbeat, the world slowing as claws released their grip. The yellow savannah blurred beneath him, a rush of wind, earth, and dust, until finally his small paws met the soil with a heavy thud. He lay there, stunned, fur matted with grit, chest heaving as he tried to catch his breath. Around him, the land held its silence, as if even the wind had paused to witness the fragile moment between life and death. Above, the giant eagle hovered uncertainly, wings trembling from the sudden loss of weight. Its sharp eyes met the ranger's determined gaze for a split second. Then the bird gave one final flap and rose into the open sky, retreating without aggression but carrying a wary respect for the unexpected human intervention. The cub's small body shook slightly, not from fear but from relief, as the warmth of the sun returned and dust settled over the golden soil. The savannah, so wide and open, seemed impossibly calm now, as if nothing had ever threatened the little tiger moments before. A low rumble echoed across the plain, and the cub lifted his head, blinking slowly. The mother appeared on the horizon, moving with the long, powerful strides of a predator driven by instinct and love. Her ears flicked, eyes scanning, until she reached her cub and crouched low, her body curling protectively around him. Every muscle in her frame spoke of vigilance, strength, and reassurance. The cub pressed close, tiny paws tucked under, feeling the steady warmth of his mother's fur. The silent exchange between them carried more meaning than words ever could. A promise of safety, a bond that even the sky's fiercest predator could not break. The ranger stepped back, boots sinking slightly into the soft soil, feeling the weight of the moment. He understood that his role was never to dominate the story of survival unfolding before him, but to intervene with precision, to offer the barest margin of chance where nature had tilted toward tragedy. Eyes scanning the horizon, he watched the mother and cub settle, the tension melting slowly as a gentle breeze stirred the dust and whispered through the sparse tufts of grass. The golden light softened, washing the scene in a quiet serenity that contrasted sharply with the chaos just moments before. For a long moment, all life seemed to pause together. Birds perched silently on distant rocks. The wind caressed the tiger's fur, and the cub's chest rose and fell with slow, steady breaths. The savannah resumed its rhythm, timeless and vast, carrying the lesson of the day in its every curve and shadow. Survival is fragile, mercy is rare, and courage often appears only in fleeting flashes, just long enough to change fate. As the mother's eyes scanned the empty sky, the cub nestled against her, and the ranger turned away. The land itself seemed to breathe, leaving behind a quiet truth that would linger long after the echoes of wings and cries had faded.